Dear future me, I'm gonna try something a little different today. I'm not gonna show the script. I'm just gonna. I have sort of a script, but I think I want to kind of like improvise because there's so many branching points to this. I don't think it does me justice to write it down. So I'm gonna try speaking off the cuff a little bit more. But the topic of the day today: do I want kids? This is a question that has plagued my mind a lot in the past years. And I remember, dude, I feel like a fucking alien for saying this, but I would literally ask my friends, like, why do you want kids? Like, I straight up would ask them, and some of them would just be like, I don't know. That's just like, I always just saw myself being a parent, and, or, oh, no, I don't know. I just always I just like the idea of having a kid. So it always like, I always felt like, fuck, like, do I want kids? And okay, here's the thing. I went on a couple dates with this girl, and she kind of asked me. So okay, to give some context for myself, it was the tall girl, and you remember that first date? She cut straight to the chase, bro. Like real talk. She was like, "Do you want kids?" And I was like, I don't know. I genuinely didn't know because I think my response at the time was like sort of honest, but at the same time, so my initial thought was like, yeah, I do want kids. But I didn't actually say that. I'm being so real with myself. I didn't actually say like, yeah, I want kids. It made me kind of think for a moment. And I told her like, to be honest, I feel like I always told myself I wanted kids, but I don't know that I do. Like, and honestly, maybe part of me was like trying to like say what she wanted to hear. If I'm being 100% honest, I was keeping it a little vague, but then I really thought about it and I was like, man, do I want kids? I really don't know. And at the time, I think I was pretty convinced that like, yeah, I don't want kids. Like after that, everything happened or whatever. And I think after that for a while, I kind of told myself like, no, I don't want kids. I don't think I do. I'm happy to be single my whole life. Like I think I'll be just happy with my hobbies and, whatever else. Keeping me busy, my friends, my family. Sorry, that sounded so dismissive. I love my friends and my family. Not saying they're not important. I'm sort of thinking, but also reading my notes at the same time. That's why I'm kind of distracted. But yeah, so I told her that. And yeah, I kind of like told myself, like, yeah, I don't want kids. And honestly, okay, there's so many layers to this, but I think let me just cut to the chase. Initially, I think I told myself that because I felt like dating and everything was like distracting me from like my goals of like being creative, so like doing music, doing YouTube or whatever. And I told myself at the time, no, I don't want kids, and that allowed me to focus. And I think at the time, that's what I needed to say to myself to focus on these other like areas of my life. And dude, I called it. I fucking called it. I knew at the time I made up, quote unquote, made up my mind on that. I knew I said in the future maybe I'll change my mind. I literally always disclaim that because I know I flip flop all the time. And I think at this point I'm coming to a more level headed point of view on it. But anyways, let me go step by step and explain. So, gosh, where was I? So at the time I said I didn't want kids, and it allowed me to focus on these creative things and not get distracted by dating and whatnot. Gosh, I don't know why, dude. This always happens. I go through these phases of life, these seasons. And I'm in that season again where I'm not gonna lie, yesterday I was kind of feeling like, man, I've been spending a lot of time alone. It's weird. It's different though, because I hung out with my friends last weekend, but I've been spending a lot of this time alone, and I'm like, man, I kind of just like want to talk to people or like listen to be social a little bit. And so I went on Hello Talk again, listened to voice rooms for a little bit. But anyways, it got me thinking. Okay, here's the other thing too. Let me give more context. I've been watching all these different videos, just throughout the day and while I'm cooking or whatever. And I just happen to hear these little tidbits, these very, very important tidbits when people talk about their upbringing, their parents, having kids, all this stuff. And I want to share a couple of recent observations. It's crazy because as I was typing these notes out, dude, I literally fucking just boom, 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 listed them off the top of my head, I rattled them off like it was the back of my hand. But these were all videos that I had watched over the past like month and a half, dude. So it's crazy how my subconscious really be working on this shit. It's really fucking adding up all these numbers and making all these calculations. It's fucking crazy how the brain works, bro. But anyways, okay, let me start here. So, okay, and actually, let me sort. I'm not trying to backtrack here. But I think I knew when I was like talking to that girl or whatever, and I made up my mind like, okay, yeah, I don't want kids. I felt like in the back of my mind, I always knew that in my perfect life, if I were working for myself and I was like, I had a music career or a creative career that I could, like sustain myself with for money and whatever, and that was like my main job and I worked for myself, that's like the condition that I would want in order to like be open to having kids. And so I just want to say that now because I don't want it to sound like, and this is me, you know, this is a message to myself, so but I just feel like I have to say it for the record. This isn't like I changed my mind so suddenly. I feel like that's always been in the background, but I just like told myself I didn't want it to focus on the making progress in the other parts of my life. So anyways, enough disclaiming. So here are my observations and kind of what got me thinking about this topic in the first place. The first one that really, really, I think was the nail in the coffin. Okay, I don't want to say nail in the coffin. That's not so bad. The thing that really, I think got me really questioning this again is I'll start from the most recent and I'll work my way back. So, and it's actually the order that I wrote it down in. So the most recent one, there's this YouTube channel called The Crunch Bros. It's basically this dad and he makes videos with his kids and they just like do goofy stuff. Like they eat, they do mukbangs and whatever. And they do all this stuff. And like the kid, I think the kid's name is Jordan. He's like viral for like side-eyeing his dad or whatever. And dude, there's this one video of his little sister. So the dad was basically trolling the kid and he goes like, this is the fire, and the kid's like side-eyeing him. In a follow-up short later, the little sister's like, this is the fire. His reaction to it was so funny. He was like, yes, like she's on my side. That was so funny to me, and it just got me thinking like, damn, like that bond is just so like sweet and like pure, and it just seems so wholesome, like having a kid and having like a moment like that where you're doing some like cringy dad joke and the kid plays along. It's so funny, and it just got me thinking like, damn, that's like a cute moment, and like that's a really wholesome moment that I don't know, it just made me feel like, oh, I laughed so hard. I thought it was such a sweet moment. Anyways, so there's that. Another one is there's that TikTok live streamer that I always see. I can't remember her name, but the baby's name is Tsumu-chan. She's like this little baby girl. And, just seeing her, like she looks like she makes her mom so happy. And every time I watch the live, it's just so cute. And I'm like, oh, this is so sweet. She's like, the mom is like talking about, oh, my baby like did this, or like she's able to walk now, or, just like progress. So I'm like, oh, that's really sweet. Another one, God, isn't this crazy, dude? Like, as I was typing these notes out, these all came out like, like, it just came out. Like, I had it, like, memorized or some shit. But again, this is all my subconscious, dude. So anyways, keep it going on. The next one, Post Malone fucking has a baby, 2-year-old girl. And he's a fucking rock star, or like, a music star, obviously. And so, he's just saying, like, it changed his world, and it gave him inspiration to write this song called Yours, which is so beautiful. It's basically about his daughter growing up and getting married, and he's like sad about it. He's just like, man, I'm giving my daughter away. But she's only 2 years old. But it just was like, wow, like damn, Post Malone is out here like writing music about his kid. That's so cool. Another one, Sal. This one hit me hard, dude. I think this was an iced coffee hour episode, or no, maybe it was another. Fuck, I don't remember which podcast it was on. But Sal did a podcast, and gosh, was it the Lex Friedman one? Maybe it was the Lex Friedman one. I can't remember. But he did a podcast, and he basically said, like, having a child unlocked a new emotion for him. Like, how fucking crazy is that? He said it literally unlocked a new emotion. He's like, I've been living for what, 30 something years. I did not think at this age I would feel a new emotion. It felt like I was a kid, like I was a child again. When you're feeling all these new emotions, I was like, damn, that fucking hits deep, bro. Like, damn. Okay, and then lastly, the last observation I want to share is so this kind of went in reverse chronological order. So I started from the most recent, and this is like the most, like the oldest data point or observation that I've kind of noticed. My coworkers are always complaining about their kids. Always complaining about, and look, I don't want to make it sound like, oh, they're bad parents or anything like that. But, you know, I would imagine like having kids obviously, you know, adds stress to your life, and you have to kind of structure your life around your kids. And so hearing them always say these things about their kids just was always in the back of my mind, you know? And so I think that is a perfect segue into my first. So those were all observations that I've made about others and kids. Now I want to talk about my opinions on my, like, I guess, like, ideal like time to have kids or whatever, or like my ideal situation to have kids in. And I think based on everything that I've heard, I feel like I always told myself I wanted to work for myself if I had kids, because I never wanted to feel like I was I never wanted to feel like I was giving up my dreams and goals to have my kids. Like, I didn't want to sacrifice that. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't want to, like, work my normal day job and then have kids and then feel locked into my day job to support my kids. You know what I mean? I didn't want it to be like I was giving up one thing to get the other. You know what I mean? So I always had this idea in the back of my mind. I want to be successful on my own, and I want to work for myself before I have kids so that I can have both, right? And I think part of me recognized, I think, that working for yourself is not an easy thing to do. And so, and maybe it is, I don't know, maybe, but in my mind, it always felt like what I wanted to do, like being a musician or like being a creative person, and like the escape velocity to like quit a day job to do that felt very high. So I think I always told myself, like, yeah, it's going to take a lot of effort. I don't think I could manage raising a kid or a family and doing that, you know? So, and here's the thing, dude. It's crazy too, because in hindsight now, I feel like that mindset served me. Totally made sense, because I was still figuring out fucking how to live my life on my own. I was just figuring out how to be an adult. How the fuck do I wash clothes? How do I run the dishwasher? How do I cook for myself? How the fuck do I order like a mattress? You know, all these essential, like, just life things. I was still figuring it the fuck out at the time. And honestly, recently, dude, I just been looking around me and feeling like, yeah, I got my shit together. I've been cooking for myself, like, you know, weekly. I fucking do my I feel like, you know, I replaced my laundry machine. I've been fixing up the house, DIY shit. And I'm just feeling more and more like, okay, like I have a handle on my fucking life. Like, I'm ready to start taking on more. And maybe that's the key, dude. Maybe that's the fucking key. I think my brain is doing all these calculations without me even realizing it, dude. You know, at the time I had to tell myself, I don't want a family, I don't want kids, I don't want a wife, whatever, because I just felt like I had so much going on, I needed to focus. And I feel like maybe now I'm getting the skills and I'm feeling competent and just like living daily life and taking care of myself. Now I'm feeling more open to like introducing more into my life. It's crazy. I'm kind of realizing it now as I'm saying it out loud. But anyways, I haven't even really dug into it, but that's just kind of the idea is I want to work for myself before I think about having kids and stuff. But here's the other thing. Okay, I'm going a little bit out of order. I sort of have an outline here, but I'm going out of order. On top of the whole thing about, you know, I was focusing on myself because I need to learn how to like fucking function as an adult. I think that I'm starting to recognize too, like planning for the future a little bit, like finding a partner does not happen overnight. That does not happen overnight. It takes time to form a relationship with someone. It takes time to build trust, to get to know somebody. And gosh, I'm fucking saying it out loud. I I don't think I'm ready in this moment. But I wouldn't be surprised if I start opening myself up to the idea of dating again, because like I said, I think if I'm thinking long term, right? Like, okay, I don't want to make it a fucking math equation. Life is not a math equation, but like if you think about it logically, right? Like timing wise, I can, in the time that I get in a relationship and start meeting somebody, and like if I were to like get married or whatever, let's say minimum, okay, like this, I'm just making up a timeline. Let's just say I would want to date someone for 3 years. Get to know them really well, or maybe even more, maybe like 4 or 5. I don't know. Again, the clock is ticking, whatever. It doesn't really matter. Age is just a number. But anyways, let's say 3 years, right? 3 years minimum to date somebody. Then you get married. Let's say we get married and maybe we enjoy just single parenthood for another year. That's already 4 years down the line. I feel like I could make my shit pop off in 4 years. You know what I mean? Like, so, you know, the math is mathing right now. I'm like, you know, like before, this all didn't feel feasible because I didn't have the fucking base skills. I didn't know how to fucking take care of myself yet. Now I know how to take care of myself. I'm ready for the next progression in life. God, this is fucking weird to say, dude. It's so weird. Like, wow. I feel like I used to date as a distraction, but this is the first time I'm saying it out loud where dating feels like a life goal. It's fucking weird! This is weird to say, dude. Fuck, this is weird. But anyways, oh my god, that's so crazy. I'm like having this revelation as I'm saying it out loud. You're seeing this in real time, bro. This is my brain really coming to this conclusion in real time. Yeah, dude, I think that's it. My mind is doing math, dude. It knows it's gonna take time to even get to a point where kids are an option. So I'm kind of thinking like, okay, like, you know, this music. And then, okay, here's another thing. I'm jumping all over the place, but like, here's the other thing. I feel like a lot of successful people that I've heard, and maybe Casey Neistat, I'll dig into it a little bit more. But Casey Neistat, I think, mentioned this in his podcast with, what's his name? Diary of a CEO, I think it was. And he basically said, like, he didn't have a plan B. Plan A had to work. And dude, it's crazy because I fucking know exactly what he's talking about. When I was in college, that was my exact feeling. Plan A had to work. I had to graduate. There was no other way because I was like, you know, my parents are fucking scraping, they're living paycheck to paycheck to fucking put me through college. I need to make this work. There's no option B. There's no other option. I have to do it. And so I feel like this is kind of bad to say, but like if I like got in a relationship and was working towards, you know, getting married or whatever, that would make me feel like, okay, there's only plan A. There's no plan B for this music stuff. It's now or never. I have to make it work or I'm never gonna, you know what I mean? So it's like, I don't want to boil down a relationship to like a forced timeline to like force myself to take action, but like I could see that benefiting me, dude. Anyways, oh my god, this is crazy. I'm totally off script now. But anyways, gosh, going back to my original point. So I kept telling myself, and I think this is still true. I think this is still true in how I want to approach it, but I want to work for myself before I have kids so that I can be present in my kid's life, so I can be the best parent I can, so I can like build a bond with them. Okay, here's the thing. So I'll talk about, let's see here. Okay, I'll talk about Casey Neistat's situation, and I'll kind of add my own little anecdotes onto it too. So basically, Casey Neistat was saying that as a kid, he was like, basically his parents were absent. I forget all the details. I'm mixing up all my podcasts, but what I remember hearing was he didn't really have parent supervision, and he was just kind of doing whatever. And now that he is a parent and he has money and stuff, he's like, I'm going to put my kids in private school. I'm going to give them the best experience possible. Like he was saying, I went through public school and I hated it. And at first, you know, my gut reaction was like, oh, private school, like, ew, what the heck? But then I thought about it, and I thought about my own life, and I was like, holy shit. Like, I totally understand everything he's saying about the, like, lack of parent involvement in their life, the lack of supervision, the lack of like going to public school. I'm not saying like I was neglected as a kid or anything like that. I think my parents again did as best as they could. Like they were working to put food on the table, and they put me through school and my brother through school. So they did what they had to do. But I think about it and I'm like, Casey's fucking right. I hated public school. I fucking hated public school. And here's the thing though. I kind of am glad in a way that I went through it, but I feel like I came out of the other end of public school. I want to say like it came to a good result. Like I'm very happy with how I turned out coming out of the public school system and then college. But I feel like I didn't have to hate the first like fucking 24 years of my life to get where I am now. Like it. And look, I'm not saying this to like sympathy bait. Like I'm really grateful for everything that happened because it again shaped me to who I am today. And that sounds so fucking cliche, but trust me, I genuinely mean that because I made so many fucking mistakes. But anyways, it just made me think like, wow, Casey's right. I hated public school, and I was like low key always sad when I would have like parent blah 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 nights or whatever, and my parents wouldn't come because they were busy working. And it just made me think like, damn, like Casey's right. Maybe there is like a world where, like obviously you turned out okay. I turned out okay. But it's just like, it got me thinking like, wow, yeah, I think Casey's idea of raising a kid is like what I would want to do. But even before watching that, I think I kind of came to that conclusion on my own. Thinking about like, oh yeah, like I want to work for myself so I can set my own schedule and things like that. And anyways, yeah. So I already jumped to the second point a little bit, but let's see. Here's an interesting tidbit. So I kind of said the whole thing to myself like, yeah, I don't want kids or a wife or whatever. I'll just be single till I'm old. I think a part of me said that because I knew the stipulation that I inflicted upon myself, which is I want to work for myself and be successful in a creative endeavor before I think about having a family and stuff. But I think part of me just genuinely believed like it would never happen, I guess. So I told myself I didn't want that stuff to shield myself from the shame or from the disappointment of not hitting that goal. But I think now that I'm like starting to feel like it's very possible, I'm getting open to the idea more. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? Because, before, if you don't think it's possible, you're going to choose the most conservative option. You're going to say, I don't want kids, I don't want a family, because you never think you're going to actually achieve the goal of being a creative and working for yourself. You know what I mean? That is why I landed on that conclusion previously. But I think over the past few months, I've really built this, like, belief in myself that I will make it happen. It's just a matter of time. So maybe now that's why I'm allowing myself to entertain the idea once again of like dating and having a wife and kids and whatever and family, because I'm starting to be like, oh shit, like, yeah, I will achieve that goal of being creative sooner rather than later. I don't know. It's really odd. Maybe that is it. I don't know if I'm drawing conclusions where there's no connection or if that's it and I'm a fucking genius. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know if that's the real reason or not, but yeah, I don't know why, dude. Maybe it's a combination of that, like feeling like I'm believing in myself more, but also I'm giving myself evidence. Like the fact that I've been like cooking so much and taking care of myself and cleaning my house and like doing these things to like get my shit together and just feel like I have my shit together in life is yeah, allowing me to think about these things. Yeah. Okay, let's see what other interesting things I can glean here. So, another thing, I forget who said. Honestly, I feel like many people have said this on podcasts and stuff, but they said having a kid does not slow your progress. It basically forces you to have structure and be on a schedule, and it like enriches your life. And I'm sure many people have said that, but I'm really distilling that down. I'm like, damn, that's fucking true. Because, I think about the benefits of having a day job, and I think one really big benefit is the structure. I actually love the structure of like, okay, like I'm working 9 to 12 or like 9 to 11:30, and then 11:30 is my lunchtime. I take a little break, and then I'll eat for 30 minutes, and I'll like play guitar for another 30 minutes, and it feels very like guilt-free because I'm like, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. This is my lunch. I'm supposed to do, this is my schedule, you know? And then, knowing that I have the work hours of like, 9 to 5 or whatever, it forces me to build the other things around that. Like, okay, I got a meal prep. So I'm going to spend like, I don't know, like Thursday, Friday night from like 7 to 9 or whatever, meal prepping, like, like prepping the protein and like cleaning the vegetables, whatever. And so it just feels good to have that structure. And so maybe when I work for myself, having kids will enforce a similar structure. I'm not saying like I want to have kids to give myself structure, not like that's not the reason why I want it, but I'm thinking like how this can work out like practically, right? And I think that's one benefit that having kids can do. It forces you to be more, what's the word? More intentional about your time, because it's like, you'll know, like, okay, your kid wakes up at, I don't know, making something up, like 9 a.m. and then blah, blah, blah. So I got to wake up at 7 a.m. so that I can have some time alone before the kid wakes up and whatever. And I got to take them to school, blah, blah, blah. All these different things. So anyways, it's just really interesting. And I can see it. I can see it being a benefit. I used to think like, oh man, kids will just take over your life. But then there's ways around that, right? Like that's why you fucking wake up at like 5 a.m. or 6 a.m. or whatever, right? Because you got to have your alone time or whatever. So anyways, yeah. And I've heard my coworkers say that too, actually. It's not, I can't take credit for that. That's something I hear my coworkers say all the time. Like they'll be like, oh yeah, I sleep at like 9 p.m. or 10 p.m. like an hour after the kid sleeps, and then they wake up like 2 hours before the kid wakes up. So it's like, like you make it work. And it's one of those things, I totally understand this feeling where they've described it like you just have to do it. And I totally understand that feeling because it's like similar to the like when you're in college and you have to like or I think that was the first time I experienced it when I was like, okay, like I just have to be up for this class at like 9 a.m. or whatever. You know what I mean? It's like forcing you, like you have to just do it. And anyways, yeah, I think that can be healthy. All right, let's see. Maybe this is the last point here. Maybe there's a way for me to achieve working for myself and balance a relationship, but I need to figure out my priorities. I don't want age to be a limiting thought for me though. Okay. Yeah, I think there's some interesting things to talk about there. So yeah, I think as I was writing that, I still wasn't fully convinced that I could like balance a relationship and making my creative stuff happen. But every day, I think I'm convincing myself more and more that I can make it work because like I'm finally taking care of myself. Like I said, I got all my like fucking life upkeep in order, and now it's just a matter of doing it. And yeah, I just think about, I think right now I'm spending my time doing a lot of things that that are gonna become quicker. So like every time I meal prep, it gets faster and faster and faster. Oh man, that's kind of leads to something else. Fuck, who said it? There's somebody. Oh, it was like fucking what's the painter guy's name? Bob. Fuck. What's his name? Painter guy. Bob Ross. He's like, like first it'll take you an hour, and then it'll take you 40 minutes, and it'll take you 30 minutes, and you just get faster every time. I feel like I'm doing that with my life right now. And now I'm starting to feel like, okay, I'm having more time now to like give to others. So anyways, yeah. And also there's certain things that I guess I could start cutting out more if I really wanted to, like TikTok, social media shit. But anyways, yeah. So kind of all over the place here at the end, but I think I'll end it there. But message to myself. I'm back in that season, I think. I'm back in that season where I'm open to dating, I think. I don't know. I don't think I'm going to pursue it per se, but I think now I'm starting to be open to the idea once again of dating, and knowing that I think I do want kids. I think I do want kids and a family, but I will need to be successful first. So maybe this is my way of telling myself, this is the plan A, buddy. You got to make it work. You got to hurry and make your music and creative shit take off so that when the right person comes along, you can feel like, okay, I did my part. I did my creativity shit. So yeah, I think this is it. Okay, look, and here's the other thing. Okay, sorry, I just had this thought. I got to throw this in there. I always thought for some, or like I fail to remember that like when you're in a relationship, it's a partnership. There's two people in that, right? And so if I was dividing up like house chores with the other person, that could potentially give me more time too. You know what I mean? So fuck, didn't even think about that. And look, okay, like, not saying this is what I want to happen or anything, but like if my wife was working full time, I could work part time maybe and then do creative shit and then be like the half stay at home dad. Dude, that would be sick actually. Damn. Oh my god, that sounds fucking fire, low-key. If I'm the stay at home dad or like a part time working dad, fuck, that'd be sick, dude. Because then I could like fucking take care of my kid and be present, and I could fucking, you know, do my creative shit. Like, oh man, that sounds fire. Damn, man, I'm excited now. Fuck. I never thought of this. Damn, I feel like such an idiot. But I don't know. Who knows? Who knows? My future wife would even be cool with that. But fuck, dude. Damn. The more I'm saying this out loud, dude, I'm just convincing myself it can happen. There are multiple ways of this working out. Fuck. Guess I'm back on my bullshit. Fuck. All right. We'll see. Maybe this is the revival of my dating era. We shall see. All right. Before I say anything else I'm going to regret, I think I'm going to call it here. Have a great night, me. Talk to you later.